Hello, hello. All right. So, you know, over the last few years, I've kind of set out to become a better artist. That's kind of been a thing that I've really wanted to do. I guess it's the drive and stuff kind of built up in me a little bit more as of these last few years. But I really wanted to kind of at least seek out this artistic vision that I have in my head. I wanted to achieve something. I wanted to get better at art. Now, I kind of know that just getting better at art, quote unquote, getting better at art, is generally frowned upon as being a viable goal. I have a little bit more to talk about that matter, but that's kind of what set me off into the path of creativity. Now, I found a couple of really inspiring people online, and they kind of really began to open the door for me. There's a couple of people that I know personally, there's a couple of people that I met online in Twitch streams, there's a couple of people I found on Tumblr, on Twitter, on DeviantArt, just any of these websites, and they're all fantastic people. But one of the things that they always said, they said, perspective is pretty important. And I hate perspective. I hate perspective so much. It's one of those things that I just, oh my god. But I heard what it is that they had to say, and I kind of took their advice. I kind of studied in perspective a little bit. But I always kind of barely dabbled in it. I barely dipped my feet into perspective. Someone had told me that I should do the first few lessons. I think it was the first lesson and 2 assignments from the Draw a Box website. So of course, wanting to get better, I took his advice. I did the first lesson of Draw a Box. And I think I got halfway through the 250 box challenge thing and was like, that's good enough. I've done enough perspective. That should be fine. So I carried on. I studied other things. I studied anatomy. I studied gesture. I studied, I guess, mainly those 2 things. I studied kind of anatomy. I kind of studied gesture. I kind of studied a little bit of coloring, a little bit of this. I dabbled around a lot of different places, but one thing that kept coming up over and over and over again: perspective. Perspective kept rearing its ugly little head every single area I looked. I would see like, oh man, if I just understood how to do perspective a little bit better, I would be able to do this so much easier. But I never listened to that voice. I kept going, I kept trucking, I kept dodging and weaving because I hate perspective. I have dreaded it ever since very early year art schools, art teachers. I'm talking elementary here. I hated perspective. I didn't understand it. It didn't make sense to me. Drawing these lines, the horizon point, the vanishing point. This isn't even taking into account that I had really bad art teachers when it came to talking about perspective. I just didn't understand it. They never explained how to rotate objects. That's the big thing that I just didn't understand. They never taught how to rotate objects. We'd do the 1 point perspective, we'd do the 2 points perspective, and that's it. They never explained anything more than that. And to their credit, being, elementary, middle school, high school, every single person in the class probably rolled their eyes so far into the back of their head, they're still probably having trouble bringing their eyes back to the front. So I can kind of understand why the teachers might not have dwelled too long on the simple basics of perspective. If it's something as important as I am now learning that it is, I really wish they had at least tried to explain. Oh, and I hate perspective. I can't even begin to put into words how much I dislike perspective. But I'm changing this. I'm going to learn perspective. I'm going to do as many perspective studies as I can. I'm going to look up as many perspective videos, as many perspective resources. And that's another important thing now, is that there are so many resources out there that explain perspective so much easier than anything my teachers could have done back in... I keep calling it elementary school, but this is like every single art teacher I've had. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm starting with the YouTube user... There goes my cuckoo clock. I'm starting with the YouTube loser. Oh no! I'm starting with a YouTube user by the name of Modern Day James. I've heard this name come up almost every time people even begin to talk about perspective. Many years ago, I had Bear the Mighty suggest, do Modern Day James. He completely changed my art. Did I listen to Bear the Mighty? Oh, I subscribe to Modern Day James. Does that count? Oh, I can't. I looked through some of his videos and he started doing the boxes and the lines, and I felt my eyes painfully rolling back into my head. But this time, it's time I put my foot down. I need to learn this perspective stuff. It's like you're grinding your teeth on bricks. That's what it feels like doing perspective. I can't stand it. I can't stand perspective. It's like, I don't know. I don't even need to do any more analogies. I just can't stand perspective. But one of the things is, I don't understand perspective. I never really gave it a shot other than I did this assignment and I hate it. That's my experience with perspective. I did the 1 point. I did the 2 point. I now understand 3 point. 4 point's a thing, apparently. I'm not going to talk about 4 points or 5 points or whatever. There's a bunch of points. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn perspective. I'm going back to do it. I'm starting with Modern Day James. I'm going to leave a link in the description to 2 different places. Modern Day James and drawabox.com. I'm not quite going to dabble in Drawabox just yet because I felt I've already kind of done a bit of that stuff before, and I kind of want to see what James has to offer before I get a refresher of Drawabox. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. What you see on screen right now, this is me learning perspective. Repetition. You're not going to learn it the first time you do it. You're not going to learn it the second time you do it. You're not going to learn it the third time you do it. You're not going to learn it the 4th time you do it. The 10th time you might have some bit of an idea. Or who knows? Maybe I'm only speaking for myself. But, oh my goodness, perspective. That's kind of what this video is about. I'm just ranting about perspective. I don't like it. I had to get this off my chest. This is going to be the first official a doggy's art video on here. Hopefully I'll get these videos out just as I progress through my art journey, and I just had to rant about perspective because I'm tired of trying to learn something new and then having perspective show up as being, hey, remember me? I hate it. I might do a little bit of Proco too. I've kind of been dabbling around with Proco this year. I've done a bit of Proco. I'll probably do a whole video explaining all the different people I've done and a few of my intentions and goals and stuff, but I just had to rant about perspective. I don't like it. But I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to put my best foot forward. I'm going to try my absolute hardest on every single one of these lessons. I want to get this stuff figured out. I want to figure out this perspective. I don't like it. Let's see what happens. I'll check in every few days, letting you guys know my updates on perspective. I'm just doing the really simple stuff right now. We'll check in next time, or hopefully we'll be on to a little bit more advanced stuff. Like I said, I'm seeing what we can do. I want to make sure I'm as thorough as possible. I want to make sure I nail this stuff down. Whoa. Wish me luck. Wish me luck. We're doing some modern day James. That's his name, modern day James. I'll link him absolutely everywhere. Maybe I'll pin a comment that links to his channel. Definitely check modern day James out. And I saw he had like 7, so there's more that aren't in the playlist that are on his channel. And then there's a ton of stuff. This is really good stuff. This is really good stuff. There are so many resources online. And I don't have a reason to not understand perspective. Not knowing how to do something is a bad reason to not learn how to do it. That's what I always say, by golly. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I'll also leave a link in the description. I have opened up a really cool thing. I might even make an entire video about this. But I have a Google document that I'm going to be keeping track of all of the tutorials that I do. Every single tutorial from every little thing that I want to do. The 3 main interests that I have are kind of traditional drawing, Blender for 3D stuff. I really want to learn 3D stuff, and game design for game design stuff, because I really want to make my own games. Make sure to check that out. Link in the description. Like I said, I'll have an entire video. That small shout out to my good friend Old World Gamer who inspired that. The Old World Gamer has a series called Retro Quest, where he's trying to play as many retro games as he possibly can. I thought it would be kind of cool to kind of take that idea and put it towards doing as many tutorials as I can. I did a flipperoonie. I'm curious to know what your experience is with perspective. Was it something that you picked up pretty quick? Or is it something that you struggle with? Have you got any tips for us that are still struggling with perspectives? I'd love to hear more from you in the comment section. I'll definitely keep an eye on those, because personally, this perspective stuff, whoo. I've been doing this first lesson for a little bit. I already feel like I know a little bit more than I did prior to really sitting down and trying to figure out how this stuff works. A little bit of that might come from the draw a box lessons that I did prior, like a 2 years ago? But even still, we're gonna do it. We're gonna figure out this perspective, and it'll be great. So take it easy, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Doggy's Art. I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Goodbye.